really wonderful. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we are going to begin with the brachot to the Torah. And one of the things I will say, because when we discussed it last week, um, there should be a card at the bima when you have a aliyah to the Torah. There should be a card. Some of the cards are Ashkenazic, some are Sephardic, some are on one side or the other. Um, but I do suggest, unless you know for sure what it looks like, that you bring up your siddur, just in case, so that you do have it and in a way that you're used to looking at, just to make it easier for you. But whatever obviously works for you, but if that can make you feel a little bit more secure. Um, we are going to each do the bracha to the Torah. It's actually very short. At some point, the person actually that was called up actually did the reading themselves. That stopped. Why do you think it stopped? Yes,
people were not knowledgeable enough
because they didn't all know it. They obviously, some people did, but not everybody. It's not all our ancestors are pious. Not all the people could read. So they stopped that at some point, and we just do the aliyah. But actually the part that when you say it's the honor is actually reading the aliyah, not reading the Torah. Even though obviously reading the Torah is much more difficult and seems a little bit more important. Okay, so one more thing with the bracha to the Torah. It is a Sephardic tradition to have, if your parent, and now we also do it, many people do it for spouse, has an aliyah, an honor to the Torah, you stand during that time as an honor to that person. You may see it in your synagogue, you may not. We have some people in our synagogue that do it, and I liked it, so I started doing it. But just so you know what that is in case you see it. Okay, we're going to do the aliyah to the Torah and the Sim Shalom. It's on page 400, and the Lev Shalem, it's 172, and the Slim Shalom, it's page 142.
I'll read it.
So, okay, so is everybody there? Well, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm going to do it just because I want you to see the person. I don't have to read it because you can read it. I'm going to read it though, just for the consistency. You get called up by your Hebrew name, your first, and if you have a middle Hebrew name, and you're the daughter or son of your father and your mother. The mother's tribal affiliation is not given. The father's is if it's a Levi or a Kohen. So, and if you do aliyot, there's normally 7 plus maftir on Shabbos, 3 on Monday and Thursday and Saturday afternoon. If you give your synagogue does Kohen and Levi as the first 2, it counts even if you're the daughter of a Kohen or a Levi, but you don't pass that on to your child. It goes through the father. Okay. Okay, so they called me up. Ta'amod Yehudit Rivka Bat David Halevi V'Devora, and I say, Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach, and then the congregation will say, Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Ba'ed, and I will repeat, and this is the tricky part that not everybody does. It will say it on the card, and it does say it in the siddur, that you repeat the line that the congregation does. Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Ba'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. Okay, noten is give, noten is present tense. We don't talk about that. It was just, we do talk about that it was given at Sinai, but that we accept it and it's given every day. So it's in the present tense. God who gives Torah. Okay. We're gonna do the last one too, because I'm not gonna go back. We'll do that. Then Torah is read, and then you do Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'Chayalam Nata B'Tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Okay, so that's it. Yes, Celia, you're
Can I read?
muted. What?
Can I read?
Yes, everybody's gonna read, but first Celia,
Okay, because I always mess it up when I get up there.
you're gonna do it.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarak. Baruch Adonai Hamvarak Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Barhabanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Fabulous. Torah is read, and you say,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'haye olam nata b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
terrific. You can anytime. So Leah goes to Celia. Who's gonna go next? Arlene.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vayed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Baharbanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Terrific. Torah is read, and you say, yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'haye olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Perfect. Okay, who's next? Okay, Ramel is next.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarak.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch atah Baruch Adonai Hamavarak Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Baharbanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Terrific.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'haye Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Fabulous. Oh my God, you're all terrific. And okay. All right. Beth, you're looking at me. I'm looking at you.
Okay. Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bacharbanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Terrific. Amen. Yes, we should be saying amen after all these. Okay. Who else? Eileen, thank you.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Great. Anybody else left here?
I can.
Faye. Okay, Faye and then Cindy. And then Ann Lee.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach l'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam anata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Fabulous. Cindy?
Or who Adonai Hambara,
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Adonai Hambara Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Ban, Bar, wait, Ban, Banar Banu Mikol,
Achar.
Bahar, right, Bahar Banu Mikol Hamim, V'natalanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Great. Ann Lee? Yeah, you have a question, Cindy?
No,
1
I
minute.
just wanted to give a comment. About 20 years ago, a good friend of mine asked me to do the Aliyah at her daughter's bat mitzvah. I never done it before, so of course I did the transliteration. I was so nervous. I think I did practice more than the bat mitzvah girl did for her entire bat mitzvah. And at the end, they sang Siman Tov and Mazel Tov since it was my first time and I was beat red.
Nice.
But anyhow, it was a nice experience.
Nice. But just think of the difference between then and now, when you
Yeah.
can really read it.
Yeah, oh, definitely. a
Very
big difference.
exciting.
Yeah.
And you really can read it. Thank you. Okay, Ann Lee.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yasher Koach.
But-
Yes, Ann Lee.
Question. All
Yes.
of us sang it the same way, the same melody. Is there a different one? We've
Not
all
that I
learned
know
it
of.
the same way.
Not that I know of. There are many prayers that have different melodies, and actually
Right.
was interesting because there was some anniversary for Debbie Friedman, and on one of the things I get it, I went on and it listed, it showed a lot of the prayers and the tunes that she had come up with, and I was astounded actually. Some I was very aware of, like the Havdalah that she does. I don't know if anybody knows that, but she has a special Havdalah, and that's gotten very popular. But there were a couple of tunes that I thought like that was forever that she had actually come up with. But as far as I know, this is the only one for this.
Interesting. Thank you.
Okay, Ellen, you're up. Do you think
Thank
I
you,
was gonna
Judi.
forget about you?
Maybe. Thanks. Baruch hu Adonai hamvarach li'olam va'ed. Where am I? Baruch hu
Right now,
Adonai
you're gonna
hamvarach.
start at the beginning.
I
Baruch
could start
hu.
at the beginning. Baruch hu Adonai hamvarach. Baruch Adonai hamvarach li'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Asher Koch. You all heard each other. You were amazing. You will still be in awe when you get up there. You will still be a little anxious when you get up there, but you should be you're amazing. You can do it. Really, it was beautiful.
My bat
Everything
mitzvah was
Ellen.
June 25th. My bat mitzvah was June 25th. So it was very apropos that we're doing this today.
Wow. Very cool. Very
A couple
cool.
of
No,
years ago.
Yeah. Yes, nice. Kol hakavod. Really, it was fantastic. Okay, now we did say we were going to do the Shabbat morning Kiddush. It is on page 734 in the Sim Shalom, page 77 in the Lev Shalem, and page 315 in the Slim Shalom. I'll give up. Yes, Cindy.
I keep forgetting to mention this, but our synagogue is switching over to Lev Shalem. We had extremely generous donors who donated 600 books.
Wow, that was a very generous donor. Nice.
Now we're going to try and do a fundraiser for 300, but it's like a wash, but they paid
Yeah.
600.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you. I think you'll enjoy it, Cindy.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
I think you will. I'm looking forward to finding out how you like it. I like it a lot, actually. And if I don't know if they're planning on doing anything, but if possible, it'd be really nice, even if you could have it on Zoom, I would expect to have somebody talk about the Siddur.
Oh,
They are.
Like
They're doing.
we had oh God, Jan Orbach, who was on the committee,
yeah.
talk. And I don't know if she goes out and she can do it via Zoom, and she already has all the information, whatever. But even if your rabbi wants to, but it would be nice to have somebody explain a little bit about the Siddur before you start using it, I think. But that's up to obviously your synagogue. But
Yeah, they're actually doing it over 3 Saturdays in June, July.
so they'll
and
probably
August,
do a
and
little
then-
piece
right.
each week.
And then they're
Yeah,
also,
nice.
because of COVID and we haven't had many kiddushes, they're introduced.
Right.
They're also pairing it with a famous dish, our traditional dish that we used to have during kiddush luncheons. And then
Oh,
so,
nice.
yeah, maybe
Good.
for the
Yeah, I
holidays,
think
it's gonna be
you'll
big
like it. I do
introduction.
think,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a excuse to, get new books, but this one, I think you'll like it. It does add something for sure in my mind.
Yeah.
We've
Okay.
been using it for a long time, and we like it so much that we're getting the weekday one.
Yeah, then that's the newest one. They said they're coming out shortly. It's good. They took a lot less time. They had a lot more people working on it because they wanted it to take less time than the
The ritual
Shabbat one.
committee ordered it already, so I'll let
Nice.
you know what we think of it when it comes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have not seen it. She mentioned it when she talked to us about it, because we also are just getting it. We haven't gotten it yet, actually. I don't know if they've gotten it, but they haven't started using it. And she said that they were going to do a weekday one, and then we'll see what happens. The first one was
I love this one. It's got everything and so much information.
yeah, one side gives information about the prayers, and the other one gives alternate things like poems and things like that. But plus they've added a little stuff in as well. But okay, good. Kol hakavod. Okay. First, I don't know. I'm gonna read, I think. The idea was I gonna sing it or not? I don't know. We'll try reading it. Is everybody on the page? Okay. I'm assuming everybody's there. The Shamru, the V'nei Yisrael. Now I lost it. I practiced it. Shamru V'nei Yisrael. Does anybody else want to sing? Somebody that sings better than me.
I'd like to try it.
Hear a couple different names though.
Wait, Faye started. 1 minute. Faye started. Okay. You want to sing, Faye? You started. I heard you. You can
Well,
do it.
I mean,
I
just
heard it.
beginning of it, I can, but just I can't, keep
Okay.
the tune for the whole.
All right, Eileen, you want to try?
I'd like to try it.
Okay.
But my singing is really bad, so
It's
bear with.
okay. None of us are going to be trying out for the choir.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'dora tambarit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et ha-Shemayim V'et haaretz Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash.
That's
Another
great.
person.
That was
Thought it
good.
was
And
great.
that one, there is obviously another tune because I know a different tune, but that's
Right.
okay.
Oh,
It's a good
okay.
thing. No, it's good. It is not a bad thing. It is not a bad
It's
thing.
what I hear, so.
I like it. It's not a bad thing. Okay. So the question is, do we continue? Yes, Beth, you have a
I was
question?
gonna say I could do it with a different tune, but I
Okay,
never heard
Beth,
that
let's
one.
say-
That was a nice
Okay,
one.
I didn't either. That's why I said it's not a bad thing. It's a nice thing. Okay, Beth, you're up.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam b'ritolam. Somebody, I'm hearing somebody else.
Sheshet Yamim.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo of somebody
Yes,
else who I think is
yes.
muted.
Yes, yes.
B'nei uvein, b'nei Yisrael, oti liolam, and then repeat Vishamru. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, and then repeat Vishamru.
Then you repeat Vashamru again, yes.
Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. That was the first tune I learned, and I know there are others that I keep hearing.
That's why I said for this, there really are other tunes. That one is good
Yeah.
to get everybody singing, but it is much longer because you do a lot of repetition. But yes, that's the one we usually do, actually. Okay, great. Now we're going to go to the next one, the next paragraph. Zechorat Yom HaShabbat Lekodsho Kadsho Sheshet Yamim Ta'avod Va'asita Kol Melachta Melachtecha Vayom Hashvi'i Shabbat Ladonai Elohecha Lo Ta'aseh Kol Malacha Ata Uvincha Uvitecha Avdecha V'amatecha V'amatcha Uve, that's one of the things when you're reading it. Uvehemtecha v'geirecha haaretz et hayam ve'et kol asher bam vayanach vayom hashvi'i al kain beirach Adonai et yom hashabbat ve'yikadshehu. Okay, a little bit more difficult, a little longer. But do I have a volunteer? Okay, I can sing it a little bit. Okay, Darlene, thank you.
I can't sing this.
Okay, you can read it. That's fine.
I don't know. I'm not, well, anyway. Sahor et yom ha-shabbat la le kadsho
Good.
shet yamim.
I suppose so. I mean, you can leave it out a little bit. It's only 10:30. What time you want?
Joyce, you, okay, I muted her. Power, okay.
Vod the shita kol milachtecha
Good.
the yom hash vi Shabbat la Adonai Elohecha lo to shed
So what? The what?
lo
Yeah.
ta
se,
Good.
kol, mela, cha,
Good.
ta, uvi, vincha, uvitecha, av, decha, va, ma, matcha,
Good.
uva, techa, v'gercha, asher, bish, recha,
Good.
ki, shet, yamim, sa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz et hayam ve'et kol asher bam vayam nach bayom hash vi.
Good.
Alkain be rech
Look
Adonai,
at it again. Wait,
but
Cain.
Alkain be rach. It's
Good.
hard to see that. Rach Adonai
Yeah,
et yom ha Shabbat va kad she who.
Good. Ve'akachehu. Good. Okay. So both of these, just background a little bit. Both of them are taken from the Torah, and it's related to Shabbat. And so when we're blessing the wine, we're talking about Shabbat. If we say Sheshet Yamim, does anybody know what that is?
6 days.
Yes, good. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. And when we talk, and the last word, when we talked about Ikat Shehu, you know where that comes from. It comes from Kadesh, holy. Okay, it's another firm. So we're reading about it, and it's talking about Zachor. Do we know what Zachor means?
Remember?
Remember.
Good. Remember, you hear that a lot about the Shoah. You see that a lot. And I'm reading from just the beginning of the second paragraph. And we'll remember this, the Holy Sabbath, okay? Shabbat l'kodsho, okay? You should be, okay? And with malacha, if you're ever studying about the rules of Shabbat, what you can't do is malacha, the special category of work. Those are the things you can't do on Shabbat. Okay, and they'll talk, a lot of it is creative words. But we talked about Sheshet and Shemayim. Where's the Shemayim?
Sky.
Yep, heaven. Good,
Heaven.
good. So a lot of these words you know, and Shvi'i is, what is that number?
Should be, is it 8? No, should be.
V-E,
Should be.
seven.
Seven.
Shmona is 8. Good, yes,
Okay.
good, Cindy. Yeah, Shmona is 8. So it talks about the 6th day and this, that God created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th day, obviously, is Shabbat. And all the people that can't work. So it's talking about your Uvincha is Ben, your son. Uvetech, okay, and your household, Bayit, Hecha, okay. So all these, you know, a lot of these words, and it makes more sense when you know what you're talking about. And then the last word, the last sentence, if we're doing the Kiddush, you can't stop there. Who's going to just read the Ellen? Last word, the sentence after the what we read.
Alkain.
Baruch.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Good.
That's
It wasn't
part.
hard, but I just want you to realize that if you're not doing Kiddush yet until you do that line, because that's the actual, the other is really introduction, and then that's specific to Shabbat morning, when we talked about this is different from Friday night
Cheers.
when
Have a
somebody
little
asks
water.
Thank you. Cindy's drinking too. Good. I'd like to see somebody drinking. Okay, so the first two paragraphs are specific to Saturday morning, and the last one is actually the line for Kiddush. Okay. Anybody else would like to read to practice? This is up to you guys. Okay. All right, so that is the Kiddush for Sunday morning. And then just, I don't know, because I don't have all my books open, I apologize. But before the last line, before the actual Kiddush, in my book, it says Savri Maranan. It's like asking permission again, like we did in the Birkat Hamazon. And oftentimes when people say that, the next line that people say that are there, they say L'chaim. Okay, so just so you're prepared to know that that is a possibility. Not always will it happen, but it is a possibility. Okay, so we did the things that I put down. Any questions about anything that we've done? Yes, Ellen.
So there's something that's really always interesting to me, and that is you touched upon it, and I don't need a whole long, could be a brief thing. Some prayers are in alphabetical order. The first letter is highlighted and the font is larger. Can you explain a little bit about that? Because I find that fascinating.
Sure. It's called an acrostic. The acrostic can be in alphabetical order. It can be actually in alphabetical order, Aleph, Bet, Gimel. It could be actually reverse. There is one prayer that's actually a reverse Aleph, but that is really tricky because to remember that. One of the reasons we have acrostics is to make it easier to remember. So in the opposite way, would make it easier for me. It would be hard to remember which is which. But that's one of the reasons they do an acrostic, to make it easier to remember. Another type of acrostic is when people spell out something with the first letters, the same thing, the first letters. Oftentimes, when they're spelling out is their own name. They're putting their name in the prayer. There was one, and I'm sorry that I don't remember if I had prepared. One that did his wife's name. Sometimes they'll do our forefathers, our ancestors. It's a gimmick, obviously. Oftentimes to remember or to give honor. And that's what it is. That's the deal. And what's our most famous acrostic that we do on a regular basis, Ellen? Well, Ein Eloheinu is in a way. Ashrei. The Ashrei, because that goes Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. The Ein Eloheinu is actually also an acrostic because it spells out Amen.
Right.
Ein, me, and Nodeh is Amen. And then after you do that, the last two is it's not one letter, it's a word. Baruch atah. The Amen ends the player. And you never stop doing brachot. So after you do Amen, you do Baruch Atah, and that's the way it was designed for the Ein Eloheinu.
Thank you very much.
Can we do the hafta?
You want to do it? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I didn't, yeah.
Good. Okay. Yes, you can do it. Okay. Now we just have to find it. That's the only problem. The V'hafta is before. If you're in your prayer book, it's before. It's in the beginning of the service, before the Amidah. Let me see if I can find it somewhere in one of my books.
That's the one thing I wish our Lev Shalem had an index.
And in English, it doesn't have it in English?
Not an index, no.
Well, you have to remember the Shema's in a lot of places, so it may be in one
Yeah, that's
place.
true. It's a lot of places, and that's what.
Because we do the Shema also in the evening service. We do the Shema a lot. And every service we do it, actually. All right, I'm trying to find it. That's my problem. Okay. Do. Where's my ark? It's before the ark.
In Lev Shalem, it's on 155.
Oh, I was almost there. I just got to 160. Thank you. Okay, 155 in the Lev Shalem. Let me see if I can find it now. I should be looking in one of my other books. Okay.
I think it's 30 in the smaller one, Sim Shalom.
Okay. And the complete Sim Shalom. Okay, and if I'm almost there, I think. Let me see. Yes, and it's on page 112 and the Slim Shalom. And the one just for Shabbat and festivals. It's on page 112.
What's the Lev Shalom? Sorry.
At 155. I'll give 2 minutes for everybody to get there. Okay, so you want to read? Arlene?
The Hafta, I haven't practiced it or anything. All right,
Dinah doesn't, you don't have to practice. You want-
okay. Yeah, I'd
Good.
like to try it.
Good.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavecha uv'kol nafshecha uv'kol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher ano he me one moment, just where do we go?
Anochi.
Say asher no he misa vocha.
It's not, there's no vowel there, even though it looks like it.
Veha hayom al levavecha vishinantam
Good.
levanecha vidibarta bam vishivtecha vivetecha.
Now read it again. Look at the vowel under the vet.
Vivetecha.
Perfect.
Uvlechtecha
Good.
vaderek.
Good.
Uv shok bacha.
Yes, exactly.
Uv kumecha.
Good.
Uk shartam leot.
Good.
Al ya decha
Yes.
vithayu lito ta feet
No.
li to ta foot
Good.
bain a necha
Good.
uchtav tam
Yes.
al mzu sot
Zuzot. You know what it is.
yes be techa uvish recha.
Good. Good. Fabulous. And you see, I don't want you to get confused. You'll see a lot of extra things on this prayer around the vowels, because those are actually the trope notes, because this is from the Torah. So those, if you were sing, we don't usually sing it in our shul. I don't know if it's because we're trying to do a faster service because of COVID, but we don't usually sing it. But if they sing it, they actually will usually sing it to Torah trope, so you can hear that you're actually, even if you don't know Torah trope, that's what it is. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi v'tzavcha hayom al levavecha vishinantam. Yeah, so it's actually the Torah trope, and that's why all that extra stuff is around the letters.
How do you know which prayers are from the exact Torah?
And I'm not sure about the Lev Shalem. Would have to look, but I think so. in the Sim Shalom, all the prayers that are from the Torah will have the Torah trope notes actually.
Okay,
Not
Thank you.
just the Shema. The Shema is the most obvious, but any other one will also have the Torah trope notes. And also, which is nice, and this is even in the Sim Shalom, and we don't always pay attention to it. I'm looking at the Slim Shalom, and it says Deuteronomy 11:13-21. So it actually tells you where it is for the next paragraph. For the first paragraph, it says Deuteronomy 6:4-9. So it actually even in this one will give you information about it. And where else where do we find this? Besides in our Siddur, and you can unmute yourself. Where do we find it? You just muted yourself, Arlene, if you want to say. Where do we find what we just read besides our Siddur? Ann Lee, give me one place.
The mezuzah that we put on our
Thank you.
doorpost.
Absolutely, mezuzah, because
And
that's
in
it.
the
Just
tefillin.
told us. It just told us we're supposed to put it on the doorpost. Okay.
Yeah.
Where else do we find it? And
Oh.
also, the word is in the paragraph we just read. Arlene, do you know?
Okay, okay.
You can look at it.
Yes, on the door.
Not quite as obvious. Okay, Celia's pointing, and I'm gonna ask Joyce, because I saw Celia, and Joyce, you want to say?
Is it on the CC?
Really.
On the
close.
tefillin.
Definitely.
Right, the tefillin, okay? It's in the headpiece and in the arm piece. You have stuff, okay? It says totafot, and totafot are tefillin. We don't know what totafot are, we don't know what tefillin is. But in English, they call them phylacteries. Okay, but we're actually reading, it says in the words what we read, what you're supposed to do with them. Okay. Does anybody else want to read it, or any other questions?
Unfortunately, I was
or
still
requests?
doing it for the Hebrew soundings and I didn't get all the words, but now I will.
Yes, that's the trick. This is the intermediate level. The first level is to learn the alphabet, just recognize the letters. Then we start over sounding out each letter. Then we can try to read the words, and then we look at the words. When we read mezuzot, we know what we're reading. We're not just reading mezuzot. We're reading mezuzot. What the things we put on the doorposts. So, and that's where you are at, all of you. And you can also cheat a little bit and look at the English. That's okay. But then you recognize what the Hebrew is.
Right.
That's the advantage. And then the next time you see it somewhere or read it somewhere, you know what it is.
Mhm.
Right.
Any other questions, requests? Yes,
What's
Ellen.
the prayer on the talit? What's the,
Okay, the prayer that's on the top, the Atara we talked about last week, is on some talitot, plural, or talesam in Yiddish. They have the actual bracha that you're supposed to say. L'tatef b'tzitzit, baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, that you should wear tzitzit. Some don't have it. Some just have a pretty design. It makes it easier if you don't know the bracha to have it at the top. It doesn't have to have it there, but that's what it is. It's the actual bracha that you say when you put on the talit. The prayer and the bracha and the mitzvah is the corners, the tzitzit, which is what Joy said. It's not the garment itself. It's the tzitzit that the garment holds. That's the bracha. And some people, you'll see, just as a point, some people wear a talit katan, which is something that has four corners, and they wear it underneath their clothes all the time. The talit, the regular talit, we only wear at morning services, and the person that's leading services, that's the shaliach before, wears it also for mincha, for the afternoon service. Most of the people in the congregation are not wearing it, but the leader does. But we don't wear it at night, because why don't we wear it at night? Except for Yom Kippur.
That's what I was going to say. Yom Kippur.
See, you're already thinking. I see your brain moving, Annalie. Why do we not wear it at night?
I've forgotten.
Thank you.
Because it says you should see it. You can't see it in the dark.
Right,
So
right.
you don't wear
Yeah.
a telly at night,
And
except
so,
for your.
and Yom Kippur Nidre, we start before it's dark. That's why we wear it. Right. Okay.
So that's the whole deal. Okay, so that's the deal. The Shema, that is one of our main prayers. The Shema and the Amida. Yes, Cindy.
Years ago, weren't the seats blue or made from squid ink?
One, I don't know if they were
see it.
all that way. Now we have it one, you'll see some telly
One
toads,
thread.
Cindy, that have the long one, the one that is used. I don't know if anybody's ever tied, Cindy. I have. You have one of the threads is very long, and you actually use that one to do all the wrappings. Okay, and you will see in some telly toad now that that will be a blue thread. The reason it was from some kind of a mollusk. We didn't know. I don't
thought
know.
it was
We don't.
squid ink. Yeah.
No, it's not squid, because I think squid is black actually.
Oh,
If
okay.
you ever have squid ink pasta, that's the only reason I know, is I see the pasta, it's black. It was some kind of a mollusk. They didn't know what it was. It like dropped out of favor. You know, we think all of the people all along were religious and righteous, and only us are not. They weren't using it, so they forgot which it was. So they stopped doing it. But now in very recent years, they think they know what it is. I guess somebody decided. I don't know how they decided. So they do use it now with the blue thread. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you don't see it on all of Palito, but you do see it on some at this point. Yes, Celia.
Rabbi
And then
discussed
Ellie.
this on Saturday because we just assumed it dropped out or we didn't know how to do it. And it seems that it was the color for royalty.
Yeah.
And I think it was the Romans who said, anybody but the royalty who wears this shall be put
So
to
we
death.
couldn't do it.
So they
Yes.
stopped putting the blue thread in so they wouldn't be killed.
Absolutely. Also, if you go to a museum like the Metropolitan Museum of Art or whatever, and you look at some of the Egyptian stuff, you'll see actually on the corners of the garment, you'll see not tzitzit, but you'll see threads, goes and on their garments as well, but only the royalty, exactly. And we obviously were not royalty. But we think of ourselves, and a lot of times, and a lot of the praise would say that all Jews are, are royalty or priestly and free and all those good things. Not just Kohanim or not whatever. Thank you. Anybody else?
No.
Question, comment, criticism? Yes, Ann Lee.
I had been told by my rabbi that indeed the mollusk had died out, and now in Israel they were able to grow them. They started.
I
to
think
grow them.
that's amazing. I think you see, there's already 3 different opinions, but
Okay.
And that probably means that they don't know, but all of them can be right. But how would they know? That's the thing that I want to figure out, is how would they know that this was the one? But I am not a rabbi, and I don't play one on TV, so whatever they say, I go along with. So
But
that's
they-
okay.
Mhm.
And actually, my husband does have one of his telly coat has the blue thread. I do not have it. Yes, Cindy.
I have a question about the order of doing the aliyahs. I know it's Kohen, Levi, Israelite, etc. But is there a rule as to Kohen take a lower one, or is that personal preference? No.
You can, and that's the tricky part. That's why there are 2 things that regarding that is if you call Kohen Levi as opposed to 1, 2, 3. That some synagogues don't do Kohen Levi anymore. They do 1, 2, 3. So if you do 1, 2, 3, you can have any aliyah. But if you do Kohen Levi, that's the problem. You can't have any other ones except for the last one, or the mafs. You can have the mafsir. So that's a problem. Why is that a problem? If you have a family that has a bar mitzvah and they're all Kohanim, and you want to give an honor to this one and to that one, whatever, you can't. So it is tricky. But the only thing supposedly, and this is, I heard, and I'm not saying that this is me, this is just what I heard, that you can only give the Kohen to the first also, because then if they give it later on, it's like you don't believe that he was really a Kohen, whatever. But we were in our shul, and I didn't have a chance to ask the rabbi. I've never seen this before. As they did Kohen Levi, and I've never seen that before. So it was a bar mitzvah. So I don't know what they did, but normally you can't take any other honor.
Like wrong
And
to
some
do.
people, I know somebody who they do 1, 2, 3, and he's a Kohen, and they'll still only take the first Aliyah. That's his thing.
When we've had, in our shul, what has happened is that when they call up the third, you can have the Kohen and then the Levi, and then you will have a whole bunch of Levis, and then they introduce it. In Hebrew, they say they're calling him up, even though he's not in Yisrael, he's a Levi. And you
Interesting,
want
'cause I've
the
never seen that
congregation
before.
to know that.
I've never seen that before.
In CSI,
See, there's things out there everywhere. What can I tell you?
depends upon the
I have not
congregation.
seen it. Yeah. Every congregation has their own traditions.
Absolutely.
So some
Yeah.
things, whatever. What can I tell you? Any other questions? That's our last chance, guys. So
Yeah, I have a
yes,
question about keeping.
Joyce, and then Arlene. Joyce,
Oh, I know
saw your
you've
hand.
told us this many, many times, but the word Mitzrayim, I hear it so many times in the prayers. And I remember you telling us, can you remind me again? I'm going to write it down.
Mitzrayim is Egypt, but you will hear people also say it's not modern day Egypt. It's it's Mitzrayim, it's the people of the time of when we left Egypt. It's those people. Some people say that. I don't know if they were for what the Hebrew word actually is for, if there's another word for Egypt now, I don't really know. But yeah, Egypt, and particularly at the time of that we were slaves in Egypt. Yes. Arlene.
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cindy.
So as far as further classes, do you have any idea what they're
Okay.
talking about for?
The story is, as far as I know, is there will be one more semester of Hebrew classes in the fall. If they have enough teachers, my understanding is there may be an intermediate plus. They don't feel that teachers are necessary once you get through an intermediate, really, that it's just really practicing and using it. I still have the possibility, I'm thinking on my own, and I would contact everybody in the class, of using a personal Zoom just to practice reading, as opposed to from the class. That's a possibility. They're not encouraging people that were successful. And the good news, bad news is you are all successful in this class, to take a class again.
Are they going to have the beginner, advanced beginner classes again, or? Yeah.
But they're not encouraging
able
people
to take
that
an
have already
intermediate
gone
plus.
through.
If you're not able to take an intermediate plus, can we sign up for the intermediate then again?
I don't know whether, I don't want to be mean about it, but they're really not encouraging people to do that. I don't know if they'll let you, because honestly, I can't in good conscience say that any of you need it, because you're too good. Sorry. I know you want to practice, and that's why I said I might try to do something just on my own, but they're not encouraging people. They said the reason for the classes, you have to go back to why these classes started, was to make people be able to, so that people were able to read Hebrew. And we feel, and I think that part is true, that people that have gotten through the intermediate successfully can read Hebrew. Every one of you can read Hebrew. Whether you're as fluent as you would like to be is another story. But you can read Hebrew. The fluency is practice and I know you like to feel the practice, and I know, they say, my husband, I will say, more than a calf wants to suck, the cow wants to suckle. So and to put it in modern terms, and more that when the kids go to nursery school, it's harder on the parents than it is on the kids, separation. So me too, I love the people in my class. I've been very lucky to have wonderful people in my classes, and it's hard for me to let go. But honestly, you've all come to the level that was the classes were designed for. Yes, Joyce, and then Ann
I
Lee.
just want to say that I can decode now, I can follow the service, but having, knowing that this is my Hebrew class, I had something I had to do this morning, I rushed home as fast as I could, because if I didn't have this time, I just
It
wouldn't be
forces
able to
you,
do it. Yeah.
for sure. It forces you to do it, and that's why I would hope, and even whether we do it again, we're not going to do it in the summer because there's too many people going and doing. I hate to say it, but go to shul. Either go in person or listen, and you can listen and you can be silent, but you can sing with people, you can read with people, and that's also a way to do it.
What
Yes, Ann Lee.
what I found very helpful to me is your dissection of the words and the sentences, so that I didn't have to go to the left-hand page and see what is the translation.
Right.
Now it
Thank
makes
you.
much more sense to me. And that is what I truly appreciate. I wish we could have a class on that. Just, it's
Yeah.
not grammar, but I would like to
Right,
know.
yes. Yeah, I
Understand the
we weren't told to do that actually, and I did it anyway because that's because first of all, I started with the in Kelohenu, and that's what it does. So I did that, and I do appreciate it, and I think it definitely does help. Look, it means something when you read Mezuzot, that you know that it's Mezuzot, that you're not only sounding out the words. You don't have to know all the words, but if you know critical words, it does help for sure. And also, even if you don't know exactly what it means, you have a feeling of what it means when you're reading and when you're davening. So,
Right.
but I do appreciate also, I just want to say, I appreciate all of you and your suggestions. Beth's help with putting it up and being able to use the screen share so that everybody can be on the same page. Thank you very much. The suggestion, and I don't remember who made it, was from the last class, of me reading before somebody else reads, so you know what it is. All those things I appreciate, because I think I may be teaching again next semester, next term. I don't know what level, it depends on what they need. It will not be the beginner one, but it'll be one of the other two, or the third one. I did volunteer that if they teach the intermediate plus, that I would do that. So we'll see. But I became a much better teacher because of all of you. So thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
So since there really isn't a formal next class, do you know of any universities or Jewish schools or another
I'm sure
avenue
there's
that-
lots of places you can look at your JCCs. You can look. I suggested to all of you that belong to a shul to push your shul to do it. That's a local place, whether they do it on Zoom or in person. I just can't imagine that they wouldn't want to have somebody, because first of all, you don't need the clergy for this for a class in Hebrew. You don't need clergy. So you can find, I'm sure there are people in every one of your shuls that are capable of working with you. So I really suggest that you use your shuls to do that. There's also obviously always things online. I am not a good techie person, but I know that either through Berman House or through whatever, online, if you put in, learn Hebrew or whatever, I'm sure that it's going to be in a million places. But
Judi,
yes,
there's absolutely no substitute for this woman's group that I've been doing. I really can't really say goodbye. I really very much want to continue with the teachers, Judi, you, and with all of these students. I just feel like I
can't let go either, so I understand.
I feel so close to all of the ones, and I don't think there's any substitute for like what this woman's
Also
lead.
because you become a community and you support each other, you feel more comfortable. It's all of that stuff.
Not
for
a
sure.
matter of support learning the Hebrew words and all. It is.
I agree. I agree.
really
So we'll
don't-
see what happens. We shall see, but I will be in contact anyway, because I can't let you go. So,
Thank
but it is, so it was 11:02. I thank each of you for for participating and
you.
making me better and for helping each other, and kol hakavod to each of you. You are fabulous, and you should
Thank you.
know it. Know it.
you.
That you are fabulous, and you can read Hebrew. So
You are
thank
fabulous too. Thank you for all your help.
Thank you.
Judi.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah.
It was so
Thank
nice
you.
to meet